Look, if you're collecting Social Security right now or you're about to, February 2026 is not a normal month, and most people have no idea what's happening with their money. Here's what the government isn't sitting down and explaining to you clearly. This February, the entire payment schedule got shifted. SSI recipients already got their February payment back on January 30th, not because something went wrong, but because February 1st landed on a Sunday. And here's the part that'll catch you completely off guard. That same thing happens again. March's SSI payment is hitting on February 27th. That means 2 deposits showing up in the same month. And some folks are going to think they got extra money when they didn't. Spend that second check and you'll be hurting in April. Now, for regular Social Security, your retirement and disability checks, there are 4 confirmed deposit dates this month: February 3rd, February 11th, February 18th, and February 25th. Which one is yours depends on your birthday and when you first filed. And on top of all this, every single check is now carrying a 2.8% COLA increase. That's an average of about $56 more per month. The average retiree is now pulling in $271 a month. That sounds like a raise. But with grocery prices still eating people alive, it barely keeps pace. I'm going to break all of this down for you date by date, dollar by dollar, so you know exactly what to expect and how to protect it. So, let's start right here, right now, with the thing that matters most to you: your money, your check, and the dates you need to circle on your calendar. Because I've talked to too many people across this country who missed a payment, panicked at midnight, called their bank 3 times, and thought something was broken, when really they just didn't have the right information sitting in front of them. That ends today. Let me walk you through exactly how February 2026 is playing out for Social Security recipients. And I'm going to be as plain and direct as I possibly can, because you deserve straight answers, not government language that sounds like it was written by someone who's never had to stretch a fixed income across 30 days. First, let's talk about SSI, Supplemental Security Income. This program serves some of the most financially vulnerable people in the United States: elderly individuals, people with disabilities, people with very limited income and resources. If you're on SSI, your February payment didn't arrive in February. It landed on January 30th, a Thursday. That's not an error. That's not the government playing games with your money. The Social Security Administration has a rule. When the first of the month falls on a weekend or a federal holiday, they push your payment to the last business day before it. February 1st was a Saturday, so they moved the whole thing back to January 30th. Now you might be sitting there saying, "Senior Support Hub, I knew that." Good, but I promise you, thousands of people across this country didn't, and some of them spent that money thinking it was something extra, a bonus, maybe even a leftover payment from a previous issue. It wasn't. It was February's check arriving early. And now March is coming fast. And here's where it gets even more critical. March's SSI payment is going to land on February 27th. You read that right. 2 months worth of deposits showing up inside the same 30-day window. Now, if you're not disciplined with your budget, and I say this with all the love in the world, that second deposit is going to feel like free money. It is not free money. It is March's money arriving early. And if you blow through it before March even begins, you are going to be sitting in a very uncomfortable place come the first week of March, wondering where your check is. The check already came. You already spent it. That is a painful situation, and it is completely avoidable if you just know what's happening ahead of time. Now, let's move over to regular Social Security retirement and disability benefits, because the schedule here works a little differently, and I want to make sure you understand exactly which date applies to you personally. The Social Security Administration doesn't just send everyone's check on the same day. They stagger the payments based on your birthday, not your age. Not when you applied, but the day of the month you were born on. This system exists to prevent the entire banking system from getting slammed with tens of millions of transactions on a single morning. It's practical, but it does mean you need to know your own payment date. If your birthday falls between the 1st and the 10th of any month, your February payment came through on February 3rd, which was a Tuesday. If you were born between the 11th and the 20th, your check arrived on February 11th. If your birthday is between the 21st and the 31st, February 18th is your date. And then there's a fourth group, people who have been receiving Social Security since before May of 1997, or those who receive both Social Security and SSI at the same time. That group gets paid on February 3rd as well. If you're not sure which category you fall into, you can log into your My Social Security account at ssa.gov and it will show you your exact payment schedule. I'd encourage you to do that today, not tomorrow, not next week. Do it today so you're not guessing. Now, I want to talk about the COLA increase because this is money that is directly in your pocket right now, and a lot of people either don't know about it, don't understand how much it actually is, or have already spent it without realizing what happened. The cost of living adjustment for 2026 came in at 2.8%. That is applied automatically. You don't have to apply for it. You don't have to call anyone. You don't have to fill out a single form. It happened behind the scenes, and it is already baked into every check going out this February. For the average Social Security retirement recipient, that 2.8% increase translates to approximately $56 more per month. The average monthly benefit is now sitting right around $2,070. Now, I want you to hear me clearly when I say this. $56 a month is not nothing. Over the course of a full year, that's $672 in your pocket. That is real money. But I also want to be honest with you because that's the only way I know how to operate. Inflation on groceries, prescription medications, utilities, and housing has been chewing through the budgets of fixed-income Americans at a rate that a 2.8% COLA is barely keeping pace with. The purchasing power you had 2 or 3 years ago is not the same as what you have today, even with the adjustment. I'm not saying that to depress you. I'm saying it because if you don't understand what's happening to your dollar, you can't make smart decisions with it. And speaking of smart decisions, let's talk about what you should actually do with this information, because information without action is just noise. The first thing I want you to do is sit down today, if possible, and write out your actual monthly expenses. Not what you think they are, what they actually are. Go through your bank statements, your credit card statements if you have them, your bills. Write down rent or mortgage, utilities, phone, groceries, medications, insurance, transportation. Every single dollar that leaves your household in a typical month needs to be accounted for. Once you see that number on paper, compare it to your monthly Social Security income. That comparison tells you everything. If your income is higher than your expenses, you have breathing room. And we need to talk about how to protect and grow what's left. If your expenses are higher than your income, we need to have an honest conversation about where the money is going and where you can make adjustments before a crisis forces you to. Now, let's pivot for a moment to the stimulus check question, because the title of this video mentions it, and you came here for that information, so I'm going to give it to you straight. As of February 2026, there is no new federally approved general stimulus check program for all Americans. I know that's not what some people want to hear. I know there are videos out there, headlines out there, posts on Facebook and other social media platforms claiming that checks are going out, that deposits are coming, that the government approved a new round of payments. And I want you to be very careful with that information. Some of it is misleading, some of it is outright false, some of it is specifically designed to get elderly Americans to click to share their personal information, to fall victim to scams that are unfortunately very real and very active right now. What is real and what I want you to know about are the targeted assistance programs that exist at the state level and through specific federal programs. Several states have their own supplemental assistance payments that operate separately from federal Social Security. Some of those did go out in early 2026. If you live in a state that has its own relief or assistance program for low-income seniors, you may have received or may be eligible to receive a supplemental payment, but that is state-specific program specific, and you need to check with your state's Department of Social Services or Aging Services directly to find out what's available where you live. Do not trust a YouTube comment or a random website claiming you're approved for a check. Go directly to official sources. The IRS also still has an ongoing process for people who were eligible for previous stimulus payments, the ones from 2020, 2021, and the recovery rebate credit, but never received the full amount they were owed. If you believe you are in that category, the IRS has tools on IRS.gov that can help you identify whether you have unclaimed money sitting there. Some people do. It's worth checking. But again, go to the official site, not a third-party site that asks for your social security number and bank routing information. I want to take a moment here and talk about the scam environment because it is something I feel strongly about, and I'm not going to pretend it isn't happening. Scammers are targeting Social Security recipients right now at an alarming rate. Phone calls claiming to be from the Social Security Administration telling you your number has been suspended. Emails saying your benefits are on hold and you need to verify your information. Text messages with links claiming you have a deposit waiting. These are scams. The real Social Security Administration does not call you out of the blue and threaten you. They do not email you asking for your bank information, and they do not text you links. If you get any communication like this, hang up, delete it, report it to the SSA's Office of the Inspector General at ossa.gov. Protect yourself, protect your parents, protect your neighbors. This is a serious problem, and awareness is your best defense. Now let me bring this home because I want you to leave this video with something tangible, something you can act on right now. The February payment dates are set. Your COLA increase is already in your check. If you're on SSI, you've already received your February payment and your March payment is coming on February 27th. Save it. Don't spend it early. If you're on retirement or disability benefits, know your birthday range, know your deposit date, and log into ssa.gov to confirm everything looks right in your account. If anything seems off, a missing payment, an incorrect amount, a notice you don't understand, call the Social Security Administration directly at 1-800-772-1213. That is the real number. That is the official number. Write it down right now. And if you're watching this and you're trying to figure out how to make your Social Security income stretch further, how to build even a small cushion, how to avoid the financial emergencies that turn a tight budget into a disaster, that's the work. That is the real work. It doesn't happen by hoping for another stimulus check. It happens by knowing exactly what you have, exactly where it goes, and making deliberate, disciplined decisions every single month. That is how you take control. That is how you stop living in financial anxiety. And I believe you can do it. But you have to start with the truth about where you are right now. Stay informed, stay alert, and don't let anyone, not a scammer, not a misleading headline, not a confusing government notice, take what you've worked your whole life to earn